Welcome to the Sisters of the Shire Podcast, your gateway to the captivating world of J.R.R. Tolkien.
I'm Ashley, your faithful guide through the Middle Earth. Through the Middle Earth.
through that Middle Earth.
And I'm thrilled to explore the unfinished tales with you this season. Joining me, as always, is my cousin and co-host, Abby.
So whether you have read all of Tolkien's works before this, or maybe you're just beginning to discover them, our podcast offers fun and engaging discussions and easy-to-understand breakdowns of some of the more complicated parts. And there are a lot of them. There are a lot of complicated parts. So let's dive into the unfinished tales together and let the adventure unfold.
Let's go!
Let's go! I don't know what's happening.
Thank you. It's going to be that kind of a day. I know it.
I feel you on that note.
Nothing can go right.
Yeah, we apologize, everyone, right now that both Ashley and I are in separate weird funks today. And it's, you want to know what the sad part is?
What?
Is I can see it from Ashley's video. It is the most gorgeous day outside. And it's the most gorgeous day out here too in Oregon.
It's kind of gray here, but
it's gorgeous outside. It's 55 degrees and beautiful.
Aww.
So sunny. So much of the clouds and the blue sky. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna curl up in a blanket and not do anything, which is so sad when you live here and then you're like, it's sunny outside, I need to be outside. Maybe that's my problem. I need to go outside. I just need to get that sunshine.
That vitamin D.
Yeah. Oh, damn vitamins.
Vitamins.
Oakley, we have vitamins for the kids, and my littlest one, he always wants them. And he goes, Mama, Mammins. I was like, you can have your mammins. Like he says it like a cute little accent. Mammins.
I'm trying to help Lizzie learn how to swallow pills. It's an interesting phenomenon. And the doctor recommended having her trying to swallow Tic Tacs or mini M&Ms. It is a hard thing to tell your 6-year-old, here's some candy. Don't chew it. Don't enjoy it. Just swallow it.
Candy.
I'm like, I don't know how else to do it though.
That would be hard. Because my kids have been sick, as you can kind of tell from me. I'm also again sick. My second cold in the month of February, the shortest month of the year, and I have
not this year
cold twice. No, so my trick is I have them fill their mouth up with water, full, and then we slip the pill in, whoop, and then they have to swallow everything.
Okay, but I'm trying to. Don't even know. It might work with the Tic Tac. We've only tried the mini M&M so far, and like the thought of like trying to push in the M&M, like I would just crush it, or it would just like get all
blue and green and yellow everywhere.
But it was funny. The first time she's just like, "Oh, it didn't work. Let's try it again. Oh, it didn't work. Let's try it again." I'm like,
"Ooh, piece of candy.
Wait a minute,
piece of candy." So. I again apologize to our listeners that my amazing voice of illness / partying. And I'm going to tell you that I've missed my calling, Ashley. I've missed my calling in life.
How did you do as a DJ?
I was a DJ last night, and it was amazing.
Was it everything you ever dreamed of and hoped for?
Have that control over the music and the songs you want to listen to, but you also know that they're bangers and they're amazing and people love them. Do you know the thrill, the euphoria, the rush of adrenaline when your playlist is playing and the song comes up and you're like, ooh, I know this is gonna be a banger, and the first notes come on and the whole crowd starts cheering like, yes, this is the song we want. I'm like, yes.
Like validating, I imagine. Yeah. Yeah. But like, can you imagine? I mean, it was a kids dance thing, so I mean, you knew your audience pretty well. But can you imagine like a wedding where people are already like not wanting to dance or something like that, and like you put on the banger and like no one dances? Like, like I feel like it's such a slippery slope. Like it comes with such validation, but also such rejection. Like, oh,
yeah, no, that's why I'm only doing children's DJing, because children are so excited about everything that I'm like, yes, let's do this. So it was a family dance for my children's elementary school, and so we couldn't have anything like romantic because it wasn't supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be like a family thing. And so I was like, I can't have them fast dance songs for almost 2 hours. So I was like, I had to break up for something slow that they could dance with like their mom or dad or grandma, grandpa, or whatever. So I picked 2 songs that I was like, these are the ones. I picked.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, you can choose the last one. What was the last one I did? I did You'll Be in My Heart from Tarzan. That was the first one. Okay, what was the last one I did?
The first one I thought of, and this is just mainly knowing you, not necessarily knowing your audience, was Rainbow Connection.
Oh, that would have been a good one too. Oh, darn. I thought about another good one that I didn't play was What a Wonderful World, the Ray Charles song, or the Is version. That would have been really good, but I didn't choose that one.
Oh, the Is one. Yeah.
I actually found this song yesterday before the dance, and I was like, this is perfect. Okay. It's amazing. I love it.
Do I know it?
You know it, but I don't know if you know this version.
Oh, okay. Then just tell me then.
It is You've Got a Friend in Me, the Toy Story song.
One of my favorites.
Sung by Michael Bublé.
Amazing. Have you ever heard I'll sing the other version I like.
It's very good. It's very like smooth, like big band orchestra dance.
I love me some big band.
It's so
have you heard of the Christina Perri version?
I don't know.
She has a whole lullaby soundtrack, and I freaking love it. It's so playful and cute, and her daughter's name, I think, because it's the album, like there's like a little picture that has her name on it, is Rosie, and it's perfect.
Oh, cute.
It's my niece's name, just for the record, but it's also a cute name.
It's also my dog niece's name. Anyway.
Oh, it is. Yeah. I love that part.
Anyway, so I just want to let you know that I will be running away and joining the children's DJing circus.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It was so fun.
Anyone knows anyone who needs some DJ skills in Oregon?
K through 5th grade is my jam.
Okay.
Also, my
you don't have to get at the rollers.
My husband came.
Slow dancing.
My husband came, and I have 2 children. My oldest is a boy who's 10, and my middle is a girl who's 8. And they danced with us the whole night. They were not embarrassed. It was the cutest.
Aww.
Like, and my son wore a leather jacket, and I loved it so much.
Of course he did. Fox is such style.
I know.
I love it. Well,
but I don't. Yeah, it was so fun.
I'm so glad. So I'm trying to figure out a segue. Like, I'm not sure how Tuor would look like in a leather jacket, but let's talk about it. Good segue? Good segue? No?
Flawless.
All right. So how much do you remember?
Maybe he had cave raves, you know?
Ooh.
Dude, that would be an
And then we'll sing.
amazing rave. Oh my gosh. Guys, out in the world, this
Or would
probably
that
in
be
Europe,
hell with the
probably in
echoes?
Europe or something. Guys, are there cave
Oh yeah, they
raves?
probably like
Are there
or
cave
catacomb
raves?
raves.
Guys,
Catacomb.
please let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Love
Yes,
it.
please.
Would love it. Anyway, so
So
let me see if
speaking
I
of
can
cave,
remember.
how much do you remember?
How much do I
See
remember?
if you can do as good as you did last week. You got an A+ last week, so I mean, high bar.
Okay. So he followed the cave,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a dark and gloomy cave. Didn't it have
Mm-hmm.
like a river in it or something? Which is
Yes.
scary.
Scary.
What if he fell into it while it was dark? That'd be scary.
Yep.
Yep. And then he came out on the other side, and he was like a light at the end of the tunnel, and he's like, "I'm coming out." And then in my head, it came out. This is how I envision it, right?
Okay.
So
paint your picture.
He is it Roger Rabbit? No. Where he goes to the tunnel and he comes out and it's like
it is Roger Rabbit.
Yep. Cartoony.
I freaking love Roger Rabbit.
Where it's like so beautiful and like he's like and he puts his hand out and like a bird lands on his hand. He's like,
darn you, smile.
Yeah,
you know,
and like
this old world is a great world after all. Sorry, I know that whole movie.
No, he comes out and like he's a cartoon. No, he's a human in a cartoon world because everything's so beautiful. And then he's like, whoa, and everything's like that has that Don Bluth. Is it Don Bluth? The guy who does like Fievel and Thumbelina, where everything's like sparkly and like shiny.
Yep.
And he's like, whoa. And then he's like, I forgot what I was doing. And he's like frolicking through fields. And he's like running and like playing his like lute or whatever he has. And he's like, whoa, this is the most beautiful day. And then he's like, he totally forgets what he's really there for like what, like 3 days or something. And then he's like, he's not even caring. He has no care in the world. He's like, doesn't even remember that he's hungry or something like that.
He doesn't even eat. Yeah.
But I just sort of think of him of like in this cartoonishly perfect world where he's like, oh, wow, I've been living in a cave. And he has like a horrible beard and like crazy like dreadlocky hair. And like, he's like, wow. And the
birds are all like, hi, Tuor.
Like, yeah. They talk to him. And he's like, wow. And then like you pull back and it's like a real person looking at him and he's just like laughing, like rocking back and forth, like like he's never even like made it out of the cave. He's just like, fantasy land.
He's been alone for far too long.
Yeah. And the elves walk by like, oh, who's that guy?
Remember, he has to burst into song, and he picked the perfect spot to burst into song because
it was something about. I remember there was something about like the echo of Morgoth screaming.
Yes,
and then Tuor's happy song drowned it out, and now it's actually silent now, or is it silent now? Did it cancel it out?
That's an excellent question. I don't think Tolkien even knows. Because remember, he brought up like different instances in the Silmarillion. Like he was pointing out the fact, I did contradict myself there. In the Morgoth version or the Morgoth encounter of the Echoing Mountains, anytime you went to these Echoing Mountains, you would hear the echoes of Morgoth screaming. Terrifying.
What if he just harmonized? That was his song.
I could see that too. But when Fëanor's armies arrive and they get to the Echoing Mountains, it just more like Echoing Mountains. It literally just amplifies any small noise. So they just bring up that point right here that like Tuor is in the same spot, and it happens to echo beautifully Tuor's song instead of making screaming noises, which is very good because we both agreed that Tuor would have lost his mind.
Yeah, my version is him just like skipping through the fields and not even noticing the screaming in the background. He's like, and in the background, it's like, this is worst. And he's like, oh, what a beautiful day.
I like it. I like it. So what ends up stopping Tuor in his cartoon world?
Not Olmo.
Not yet.
Was it? I don't remember. Was it
something that is beloved of the Teleri, but I'm sure is hated everywhere else in the
we were
world?
talking about it at the very end because you were saying that you could see it out your window. You could see the sea.
I could see the sea, but who led him to the sea? What led him to the sea, Abby? A bird. Yes. The seagulls. So he hears the cry.
I was right. I was making a joke. I thought it was going to be like a little songbird that's like, follow me. No,
right? No. It's literally
like,
mine?
They just are like pecking him like incessantly, like like flocking after him. He's like, ah! And he just like running until he gets to a cliff. And he's like, oh.
Pretty much.
Because honestly, personally, I just think of the seagulls, you know, when they are by the ocean. I know this is hard for other people to imagine who don't live by the ocean and don't get to go to the ocean very often, like Ashley and I do. But when they're like kind of just riding the wind and they're just kind of in like one spot, and they're just like hovering a little bit, I feel like that's what they're doing. Like, come follow us over here. Yeah. And then he's like, whoa.
Well, it starts off with just like after his echoing song, it's all quiet. And then a seagull is like, hey, over here.
Yeah. Look over here. Look over here. What's that from? Oh my gosh.
What? Oh my gosh.
What is that from? Dang it. Look over here. Look over here.
It's Steve Martin. It's Steve Martin, but I can't quite pin down. Is it Three Amigos? It's Three Amigos. Three Amigos. Yes, 100%. Oh my gosh. Steve Martin, national treasure. Amazing movie. But then somehow he goes to sleep, but then there's like three seagulls and like, hey, Tuor, time to wake up. Hey, buddy, wake up. Worst alarm clocks ever. And then he follows them, and then he gets to feel the sea air for the first time. He doesn't see the sea yet. He just gets the sea air. He gets a whiff.
And does he wistfully look over a cliff into the like that where he's going, and the wind is blowing in his hair?
Yes, that's where we left things, and we said, "Be grateful for your fresh air, people," because he's like. He's thinking that it's the same as like a nice cool wine. Like, how bad was your air before that you're like, fresh air is amazing?
Yeah.
So we last left cave air. Yeah. We last left Tuor after he climbed up a cliff and he got out of the ravine that he had been traveling through. And he had just reached the top and got a lungful of the fresh sea air. And with that first lungful, Tuor is already entranced by the sea. He hasn't even seen it yet, but just from the smell and the feel of it, it is in his lungs. He is in love. It must not have been low tide because that will change a person.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. It stinks, people. It stinks.
So bad. So bad. So Tuor is just following his new seagull friends, and as he is traveling along the top of the ravine, the two sides of it come together, and it comes to a narrow channel. Quote, and it was filled with a great noise of water, and looking down, Tuor saw a great marvel, as it seemed to him, for a wild flood came up the narrows and strove with the river that would still press on. And a wave like a wall rose up almost to the cliff top, crowned with foam crests flying in the wind. Then the channel, drowning it in deep water, and the rolling of the boulders was like thunder as it passed.
Terrifying. No.
Terrifying. So I don't know why it's so hard for me to visualize like where he's been walking and what he's been doing. I think it's because I'm coming from the coast and he's going towards the coast. So it's like my brain's just not calculating it. So I'm imagining like a canyon and there's a river in the ravine below. And then he had climbed up the cliff. So he's on top of the canyon now. And somehow at the far end of this canyon, a sudden wall of water, like freaking Arwen in Fellowship of the Ring, sudden wall of water comes crashing down, and the water is so powerful that it causes like a rock slide of the canyon walls to just crash down into the canyon, and the canyon is just flooded.
No, thank you.
He was there like seconds ago.
Terrifying?
Yes. Like, is this how water works? What the heck?
She's a cruel mistress, the ocean.
But I could also see Tuor being like, so everything he's done, the water has had some kind of a reaction. So like, you know, he's sang his harp and all of a sudden the water was boiling. So like, I wonder what he did like right before that happened, that he's like, not doing that again. Like,
it also reminds me of like, you know, in movies where someone's like adorably, what is the word? Unknowing of their surroundings, and then they'll like walk somewhere and something like crashes behind them and they don't even notice, like all these narrowly escaped death things, and they're just like, wow, this place is magical, and then like behind them it's like what movie is that? There's something like that where like
it's Soul?
No, it's
before
a cartoon.
He dies,
they're like walking,
going through all the things.
Yeah, when he's like walking and he's like trying to, he's not even noticing all these like scary things that could have happened to him, but he's like narrowly missing. Like it just happens right behind him at the right when he passes, and he doesn't even notice, and he's like, oh, and then he turns around, he's like, wait, how did that get there? Like, how did that happen? Oh, well, my life is great. Bye.
But I mean, coming from Tuor's perspective, I don't know what you would be thinking. Like, narrowly missed that one, or like, what did I do? Or what is Olmo trying to tell me now?
Are you mad at me? Did I do something wrong?
Yeah. Quote, thus Tuor was saved by the call of the seabirds from death and the rising tide. And that was very great because of the season of the year and of the high wind from the sea. So, random high tide / flash flood normal around this time of year? Or was Olmo literally like, stop moseying around and get a move on?
Yeah. I'm literally shoving you.
Yes. So now Tuor at this point decided not to go towards the scary wave that nearly killed him. So he doesn't want to go in that direction because the fury of the strange waters dismayed him. Understandable. And so instead, he turns towards the south. Quote, and so came not to the long shores of the Firth of Drengist, but wandered still for some days in a rugged country bare of trees, and it was swept by a wind from the sea, and all that grew there, herb or bush, leaned ever to the dawn because of the prevalence of the wind from the west. I know you have seen this cliffside before. Like, I have seen it so many times. Like, I can totally picture this. Like, all of the bushes are just like, and they like look like they're, you know, off to the side. Okay, so there might be a hiccup here because this is like the day we've been having. We're in a funk. Our computers are in a funk. Our internet, something is in a funk. But you know what? We are going to persevere. Take that, internet funk.
Take that, interwebs. That's what we call it in our house. When the internet is really slow and I see like my husband on his computer or his phone, I'm like, hey, are you taking all the interwebs? Are you taking them all?
Yes.
I usually just blame him. Like, you took them. I know you did.
So the last thing we talked about was the coastline that Tuor was wandering around, and it had all the bushes that are like bent from the wind.
From the wind.
Yes.
And they're never like pretty bushes. They're always like scraggly.
Yeah.
They look like they've never had a drop of water in their life. You know.
Yep. But I find it funny. Like, he was so close to the sea. If he had gone past the wall of scary, like towards the wall of scary water, he would have been right at the sea. But I also love that in the grand scheme of Tuor's journey so far, he has had to be guided nearly every inch of the way. It's like trying to lead a drunk person through a maze. Like, no, not that way. No, too far. Like,
it's like bumpers when you're bowling.
I had that same freaking idea. I was trying to explain bumpers. It's like with bumpers when you bowl. Seriously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our minds are connected. Because now Tuor is now entering the land of Nevrast, which was the former land of, do you remember? Someone important?
I don't know.
Turgon.
Okay.
But I swear, Olmo, like, I love how much thought Olmo, I know he didn't actually put this much thought into it, but in my head he did, because he like had to plan this moment perfectly for Tuor, because if he had seen the sea from his previous path, like what past the wall of water, it wouldn't have been as good of a view. He's like, no, my Tuor gets the top tier treatment, the creme de la creme, because now where Tuor is, he is at a higher elevation, so he's able to see the cliff tops. He's like, the cliff tops he is on is higher than he would have been before. So this is his first.
The premium view.
Yes.
He got the
his
top
view.
Top of the line.
Is now epic, because this is the first time he sees the sea.
He sees the sea.
Yes. Quote, he came suddenly to the black brink of Middle Earth and saw the great sea, Beleaguer. Oh man, I practiced this in the car. Beleaguer. Anyways, the shoreless.
Does that mean it's just like a cliff and there isn't like a beach? Like there isn't like a...
Okay. I was confused by this too, because I'm like, isn't he literally at the shore now? So, and the black part also confused me too, because nothing about this vibes black to me. Black is like scary
like
and
black
dark.
Stone?
No.
Like,
see, I had to think about this a lot too, and I'm hoping others did too. Like, not that I like hope confusion on anyone, but like, I really had to think about this, and I made it figure it out in my brain.
All right.
So I was confused right along with you, and I will explain to you what I figured out. So the word black and the reference to it being the shoreless, think of it from the perspective of one only knowing the lands of Middle Earth, and the ocean being like the end of the world. So it is a black brink because they don't know what lies beyond. And it is shoreless because they don't know of any other lands on the other side for there to be a shore on.
Oh. It's kind of like an existential crisis happening right there. Like,
right?
What's happening?
So the black
the
brink. Yeah. So you think it would be scary, but no, Tuor is like, yes. But also, Olmo has to have a little, lighting setting here, because he also makes sure that Tuor arrives at a sunset. So he sees the sea for the first time, cliff top.
He gets a sunset.
With a sunset.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous. I mean, I'm surprised there's not like a blanket laid out with candles and like a picnic.
A picnic.
A nice charcuterie board. Yes. Quote, and at that hour, the sun went down beyond the rim of the world as a mighty fire. And Tuor stood alone upon the cliff with outspread arms, and a great yearning filled his heart. It is said that he was the first of men to reach the Great Sea, and that none, save the Eldar, have ever felt more deeply the longing that it brings.
Wow. Seeing the sea at sunset is very moving. It's beautiful.
It is.
If you haven't seen it in your lifetime, top of the bucket list, please.
Seriously.
It's beautiful. I did think of two different things when I heard this.
Okay.
The first being that scene in the Hugh Jackman Les Miserables.
Of course.
Where he's like looking up into the heavens and it's like, he's like, I don't know if it's heavenly light coming down on him, but he has this look of like, oh, like this light coming down, and he's like majestic, like it just transcending like beauty. And then second, please tell me you've seen this movie, the Brendan Fraser Bedazzled.
Only Every Summer with You.
When he is a sensitive man, he's looking
stupid sunset
at the sunset, and his girlfriend's like, "You're crying again." He's like, "I know, it's that darn sunset. It just gets me every time. What is that darn thing gonna say?" And then he can't look at it, like he's crying, and then he looks at it again. He's like, like it's like.
Very underrated Brendan Fraser movie for the record.
That's Brendan. You pronounce it Fraser, not Fraser.
Oh, is it Fraser?
Movie. You guys.
So good. So good.
So good. What is that darn thing gonna say?
What is that darn thing gonna say? But I mean, with a view set up like that, who wouldn't love the sea? I mean, you're just compared with what he's had before. I mean, obviously.
I know. It's like I said before, top of the bucket list. If you guys have not seen a sunset at the beach, it's gorgeous.
I love also the imagery of a mighty fire. A Celtic song that's like one of my favorites says, "When the sun sets the water on fire." And I was like, yes. Arian. Is it Arian? Is that the name of the Maiar? I think it's Arian. I like her.
The sun lady?
The sun lady. Pretty sure it's Arian.
Okay. I also just texted you something important that you need to say. If it gets to you.
How important. So, do I need to stop what I'm doing right now?
You can just open your phone.
Oh. Do we need to make a meme of Tuor doing this?
Yeah. I love it so much.
That's a good one.
The dazzle where he cannot handle the sunset and he is crying, and it's pretty great.
Okay. We will make a meme of that being Tuor leading. So, once Tuor takes in the sunset, he goes back to taking his time. And, Nevrest is a beautiful land. It's far nicer than the lands he's been used to before. It's fenced in by mountains on either side and then the seas on the other side. So like the climate's a lot nicer. And of course, he's used to being alone and fending for himself. So he's just really in his element here. It's springtime.
Ooh, is it like Southern California beach?
Yeah. So he's just really, he's got a nice setup, and Tuor's just living the life. But
does he also forget again what he's supposed to be doing?
Yep.
Come on.
100%. So
I don't blame him though. I would also be like, this is nice.
Yeah.
What was I supposed
to this land was once inhabited by Turgon and his people, who practically overnight relocated to Gondolin. And for some reason, no one hasn't inhabited this land since. So there's no one around for miles. So he's going to be by himself. There's no accidentally coming across someone. He's there by himself. So he's walking along, and eventually Tuor comes across a great mirror. Do you know what a mirror is? I had to look it up because I mean,
a part from a real mirror? Like in the
So
sense
not
we know?
mirror, it's mere, M-E-R-E.
Oh, like a mere
Coincidence, like a mere
like a mere
coincidence.
coincidence.
Yeah. But apparently there's another meaning that I'm like, couldn't you come up with another word? But apparently not. It's basically a lake or pond that is connected to the sea, kind of like an offshoot, body of water. It usually has like a lot of reeds and it's kind of marshy.
Like a swamp?
Kinda. So Tuor looks at this basically pond and he's like, nah, I'm going back to my pretty sea. Quote, for the sea drew him, and he was not willing to dwell long where he could not hear the sounds of its waves.
I mean, it's pretty addicting.
Yeah. So, like, a pond will not suffice. He needs waves. He needs an ocean. He likes his ocean. So he continues along the coastline, near the ocean, of course, so he can hear his precious waves. And he comes across the first traces of civilization, kind of ruins of the Noldor of old. Now, just to talk about the time difference here, when Turgon and his people left Nevrast, it was the year 116. We are now in the year 495. So some time has passed. But these are elf ruins. So like they made it structurally sound. So it's going to last a while, but you can't stop like the weather or like plants and things like that. Yeah. Quote,
natural erosion.
Yeah. But it is still visible. Quote, for among the tall and sea-hewn cliffs south of Drengist, there were many coves and sheltered inlets, with beaches of white sand among the black gleaming rocks. And leading down to such places, Tuor found often winding stairs cut in the living stone.
Oh,
like, wait a minute.
This reminds me of where I used to live in California.
And Brea.
Makes me sad. A little bit homesick.
Now, like, first I want to imagine, like, the really rough cut stairs in the cliff walls that some people do. But, like, wait, no. These were elves. So instead, imagine, like, really perfect cliff stairs. Yeah. And so, obviously, not made by the elements. Like, someone made that.
Yeah.
People have been here.
This is what we're talking about. He's probably like, whoa, cliff stairs. He is so oblivious to things sometimes that he's probably like, whoa, cool. Does not even notice.
Imagine the perfect wave that made that.
Yeah, whoa. Did the seagulls make this?
He looks at his seagull friends. Did you do that?
Was this you? The craftsmanship's amazing.
So Tuor is in his personal heaven. You know, he just loves it here so much that he hangs out here through spring, through summer, through autumn.
By himself? Just all by himself?
By himself. Yep.
Nah, he's got his seagull friends.
Right. Quote, and darkness deepened in Beleriand, and the autumn of the doom of Nargothrond drew near. So, like, remember that world outside of Nevrast? Like, yeah, things are still happening in it. But, you know, one thing that's really, like, on the horizon that's really bad is that doom of Nargothrond. Because it's going to cause a lot of stuff to happen.
It is called the Doom of Nargothrond. So, even though I know he means doom in different ways,
this one literally means doom.
Feel like this is the real deal.
Right. So winter is coming, and Tuor is a little distracted in his journey. You know, the birds aren't, you know, leading him anywhere. He's off to his own devices. He's doing what he wants. So what is going to guide him along the next part of his journey this time? I feel like he's even distracted the seagulls at this point. The seagulls, like, are one with Tuor. They're like, have you lived this life? It is so nice. They, like, become the surfer style. Like, we don't need calendars, bro. Like,
They have tiny sunglasses, tiny Baja jackets. They are living the life.
They're living the life.
Um,
So, what is going to help Tuor get back on track?
my two guesses are a giant wave literally throws him backwards, like, get out of here. I told you to do something. Be productive. Or more birds?
More birds! You were right!
More birds, but not
More birds.
not the cool seagulls.
No,
just
he's
called
like,
them the
no, those
seagulls.
seagulls have failed me. Got to try another bird.
Hey, it's
Quote,
me and the gulls. It's me and the gulls hanging out.
quote, and one day, as Tuor sat upon the shore, he heard the rush and whine of great wings, and he looked up and saw 7 white swans flying in a swift wedge southward. But as they came above him, they wheeled and flew suddenly down and alighted with a great plash and churning of water.
I'm sorry. That would be scary. I don't know if any of you have come across a swan. They can be very scary, and that would be terrifying if they're like, you're like, oh, beautiful. Oh my gosh. They're like dive bombing me. And are they giant swans like everything else? All the giant birds in this place?
Let's just say they're giant.
In normal birddom in our world, so.
Yeah. I'm going to say giant because there's 7 of them. Magic number 7. But also, these swans, Olmo picked the right bird. He did his homework on Tuor because Tuor happens to love swans. Because something Tolkien didn't mention before is that swans were actually an important part of Tuor's childhood. Swans were abundant near the gray pools of where he grew up, and swans were a token of his his elf dad, Anael, and his foster folk. It was like their bird.
I feel like they would have like carvings of it in like their elf homes, and maybe his cradle was a swan boat. You know, those swan boats that they have.
Oh, I love that. But also, I was thinking too, if it's a gray elf thing, gray elves, Sindar elves, right? Who else is technically, who does Galadriel marry into? A gray elf family.
Clan,
thank you. And what were the boats in Lothlorien?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I want his crib to look like. His little bassinet. Yes. That'd be cute.
Connection. So, if there's going to be any animal or bird that Tuor would leave his precious ocean for, it's going to be a swan. Who saw that coming? I did not, but swans it is. Quote,
beautiful.
He rose, therefore, to greet the birds and called to them. Like, of course he knows how to call to them. You don't know how to call to a swan? I don't know how to call a swan, but Tuor would know.
Swan! There's a TikTok meme of like, do you guys want to hear my duck call? And it looks like they're like preparing for a duck call. They're like, hey, what's up, ducks? Yo, ducks.
I feel like that is very close to what Tuor would do, but I feel like they would love it though. They would be like, yes, that is how you actually are supposed to talk to us. We don't like those like bird call things. Those are dumb. We'd rather how he did it the right way.
In my brain, they're flying over and he's like looking up and it's like majestic and like the wind is blowing and it's like, then they come down, but they don't like dive bomb him. They like circle him kind of like a cyclone thing and like come all around him. Yeah. That's what I can see. That'd be cool.
So he rises to greet the birds and he calls to them, quote, marveling to behold that they were greater and prouder than any of their kind that he had seen before. So that's my evidence of giant swans
scary.
His previous one. Yeah. But they beat their wings and uttered harsh cries as if they were wroth with him and would drive him from the shore. And wheeling in a wide circle, they ascended into the high air and went away south.
Were they hurting him?
Yes.
So like,
they were literally...
They're like, I can see him be like, oh, beautiful, precious. Ow. Okay, what the heck? Okay, fine.
I'm going. Yeah.
I'm going. Jeez.
But like, I could also see him being like, oh, my friends, wait, why are you so mad at me?
Yeah.
What did I do? So is this a normal swan behavior of migrating south for the winter, or is it a sign?
Knowing Tuor, he's like, what does this mean?
Yeah. No, actually, he gets this one because Olmo is learning how to talk to Tuor. It's taken him a few tries.
He's like, all I needed was birds. Who knew?
This bird specifically, though, because now Tuor has a talk with himself because I don't know if he brought Wilson with him or not. I don't know if his goals are still there, but he has to talk out loud to someone.
He talks to Seagull. He's chilling right next to him with tiny little sunglasses. And he's like, what should I do, Stan?
So it says, Stan, here comes now another sign that I've tarried too long. And straightway he climbed to the cliff top, and there he beheld the swans still wheeling on high. But when he turned southward and set out to follow them, they flew swiftly away.
So he tried to follow them, but they're like, not.
Come and get us. Come and get us. Keep coming.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. But which also, this makes me wonder, how long would Tuor have stayed in Nevrast if his swans hadn't gotten mad at him?
I mean, it doesn't seem like he has any earthly problems there,
right?
Eating or weather or anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
which I mean, we obviously know how this is. We obviously know how this is going to end because we've read the Silmarillion. So he's going to end up in Gondolin, and I can't imagine a man who has lived by himself for so long, then living in a place so closely confined with so many people. I can't imagine, that would have been a hard transition.
Yeah. I could see him being like, I can stay here a little longer.
Yeah. So he starts following his swan friends. And for how many days do you think he follows them. Wow. He's not swallowing swans.
Follows the swans.
It's not my day, guys. It's a magic number. I'll give you a hint.
7, of course.
7, of course.
7, the magic number.
Yes. And these swans, they don't let Tuor linger anywhere. These guys are on a mission. They have been given an assignment, and they are not letting Tuor stray because literally every dawn they wake him up by the rush of wings above him.
I can see him waking up. He has a totally blank face, grumpy, just okay, I will get up, fine, yes, okay, I get it, you want me to do this, okay, you do this to me every morning.
Yes.
And then they honk at him and nip at him, and he's fine.
He sits down to have breakfast, they're no, take another go, mister.
Yes, and he's oh, come on.
This is my hell. I'm not sure if it has ever been talked about before, but Abby and I are not morning people at all.
No.
So this would be literal hell for both of us. I'm pretty sure those swans would be dead.
Wake up!
By the third morning, they would be dead.
Which is funny because now I am mandatory morning person with children.
Right. Yeah. Even then, though, my husband calls it my thawing out period. I need a minute.
Mommy needs to become a human. Just give me a few minutes.
Yes, pretty much. So eventually, Tuor's different. He seems to acclimatize to the morning schedule because he, follows the swans, and they lead Tuor to the mountains of Erd Wethrin, More specifically, one mountain in particular called Mount Taurus.
Ah, not
Quote,
tuna this time.
not tuna, Taurus. But, okay, never mind. I almost but Turgon wanted a mountain like tuna. So I could see where. So this mountain is this mountain that Turgon built his first city on, Vinyamar. So I could see we have a Taurus and we have a tuna, like a possible similarities. Anyways, quote, westernmost of all the towers or mountains of that land, whose head a mariner would first descry across the miles of the sea as he drew near to the mortal shores. So this was like a really tall peak that, I mean, maybe from like the Noldor coming over, they're like, I can see land. Like this is the first land they would see. This would be like the perfect mountain for a lighthouse to go onto, kind of thing. And like I said, this is the mountain that Turgon had built his city, Vinyamar, on way long ago.
Okay.
Quote, eldest of all the works of stone that the Noldor built in the lands of their exile being their exile to Middle-earth from Valinor, there it still stood, desolate but enduring, high upon great terraces that looked towards the sea. The years had not shaken it, and the servants of Morgoth had passed it by, but wind and rain and frost had graven it, and upon the coping of its walls and the great shingles of its roof there was a deep growth of grey-green plants that, living upon the salt air, throve even in the cracks of barren stone.
Oh, it sounds cool, but also sad. Like,
yeah,
not
it's abandoned.
Pretty. Yeah. I mean, you think of like those really cool castles and stuff in Europe they look cool, all abandoned and stuff. I mean, maybe it looks cool. I don't know.
Well, I'm actually going to leave you here today.
In an abandoned castle? Come on.
Yep.
Fine.
Because what is in the castle? What is awaiting Tuor in the castle, Abby?
More birds!
More birds!
It's full of parrots. I knew it!
Yeah. We've actually increased onto toucans.
Birds that can like talk. Choose a parrot.
Ooh.
Or another cool bird that could talk, like a raven or something that can actually talk more than a parrot, I've learned. And it's terrible. Oh no, I watched this video. It's like, I'm cool with birds. Cool. Birds are fine with me. I'm not freaked out. But there was this bird that I saw the other day that could talk. It wasn't like a parrot. It was like it looked like I don't know, like a woodland, like
your everyday bird like that you see in the forest. Okay.
Like a woodpeckery kind of bird, like just like a normal, not parrot or raven looking bird. Okay. And it was talking, but you know how when birds like parrots talk, they sound like parrots. Like they have they can say words, but it sounds like a parrot talking. This sounded like a person with the person who taught it how to talk had an English accent, and so it had an English accent, and it was talking like an old man, and it scared me. Oh my gosh, did not enjoy it. Terrifying. I know. So I can only think of come on, Olmo, pick a bird that can talk, and they'll just be like, this is what you need to say. It's like a voicemail. Like he records it. He's like, oh, I don't like that one. Erase it. Erase. Okay, but I'm going to start over. Here you go.
This Olmo is confined to... So, like, I wonder what the cross-sharing, how that works. Because technically birds are monways. But if they're water birds, then
I was just going to say, he's only been choosing water birds.
Right.
Like,
So I wonder if maybe Monway was the only one willing to help him. Maybe you could talk to Yavanna, or what's the girl that Yavanna. I was like, isn't there a girl that had deer? No, she ran as swiftly as deers or something.
Which
Nienna.
cool.
No.
I want to do that.
Nessa.
I want to do that. I want to run like a deer.
Right? Anyways, so be sure to follow us on Instagram at Sisters of the Shire Podcast. Become a patron and join our Patreon at patreon.com/Sisters of the Shire Podcast. You can become a dwarf friend of the Shire, like our buddy Dan, or an elf friend of the Shire, like our friends Christian and Tom. Thank you guys again so much for all your support that you give us. We really appreciate it. You know, it's not, we don't charge for listening to the episodes or anything like that. Technically, this is all free for you guys, but it does cost us money to make it. So we appreciate anything you guys are willing to contribute.
Yes.
Even if it's just a rating on whatever platform you listen to your podcasts on, even that helps. So
sharing it with your friends and family.
Yeah, just do what you can. And speaking of sharing, we have had so many world news. What? Shots fired all over. Okay. So, first of all, Greece. Where did you come from? And where are you going?
Let's make it to the top. They're going to the top. Never
They were
stop.
30th, and they're 25th now. Like, bam, 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 bam. And who took that 30th spot? Iceland did. They were 33rd, and now they're 30th. Like, Iceland's been climbing. Ukraine was 30th, and Ukraine overtook Russia and Japan. Like, get it, Ukraine. And then, upon top of all of that, I mean, if that wasn't enough, I didn't think there were any more new countries. But we got a new country!
Okay. I get to guess the continent.
Yep.
Okay. Africa.
Technically, yes.
Okay.
Geographically, yes. But in, like, history class, they always consider it in its own little part of another thing.
Morocco.
No, but I see your vibe like that. Yes, keep going with that vibe. It's one of my favorite places when I was younger. It was like one of my first like history rabbit holes that I went down. Yes. My Egypt phase. Freaking love the Mummy.
I always forget. You know, it's funny you say that. Like, yes, people always kind of lump Egypt and kind of like this, like in media and like Hollywood and stuff, it's like kind of lumped into this like Middle Eastern.
Yeah. Is it the Middle East or is it Africa?
Thing. But it's in Africa, guys. It's an African country.
Africa. But when you learn about the Middle East in school, they say, yeah, Egypt is that too. I'm like, but it's not. But it is. But it's not. So that's why I was like, kind of? Technically? Geographically? Yes. So yeah, welcome, Egypt listener.
Woohoo!
So excited.
Well, thank you for teaching me today.
You're welcome.
We apologize again for any weird editing because our recording kind of went funky. So we'll
it's a funky day.
That
like, do you want an episode or not? Because we made it work.
What do they say?
Tim gunned it, okay?
Like, Mercury's in retrograde, but people say like mayonnaise is in Gatorade. Like they always like switch it around.
I like it.
Something is up in the air.
Yes.
Well, we hope you guys have a better day than we've been having today. I mean, I can't complain. Today's pretty great. I'm alive. I'm here. It's beautiful outside.
Right. Yeah.
But I hope you guys are...
get your vitamin D.
My vitamins. My mommins.
Your mommins.
Well, we love you all. And hello to our new listeners. And we're glad you're here. And we hope you keep on listening. And yeah. So I've been Abby.
Next week. So close. Until next week, I've been Ashley.
And I've been Abby. And I'll get this someday. We're so glad you're here. And this has been the Sisters of the Shire Podcast. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
me!